Like this is like the perfect bronzer for summertime. Spring and summertime, you guys, slapping this all over me. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're doing a collection video. We are doing my Clean Beauty bronzer collection, and we're going to be going through, we're going to be doing full reviews. We're going to be comparing and contrasting because I feel like, you know, you can review something, but then after a while, it's nice to see how like all the things that you've reviewed comparably to each other compare. At least I like to see that because, you know, maybe I buy a bronzer and I'm like, oh, I really like this. But I'd also like to know in terms of how it stacks up to your entire collection, like where you kind of rank it. So that's what we're doing today. I'm really excited. I like to kind of, this is kind of a fun thing to do at the beginning of the year because then at the end of the year, you can kind of see also how things stack up, if that makes sense. And I haven't done a bronzer video in a really long time. So let's do some Clean Beauty bronzers. I'm really freaking excited. I've had a lot of coffee. I don't know if you can tell. I am about to explode out of my seat because I am way too hype, but I'm excited to get into this video. I have like an eyeliner video that I'm going to do. I haven't done an eyeliner video, I think, ever on this channel. So I have a ton of good eyeliners I want to talk about. I definitely want to do a new concealer video. I have a bunch of stuff that I want to do, but let me know down below if there's specifically a collection that you're like, girl, you haven't done this yet and you really want to see my thoughts. Yeah, I just want to jump in and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this Clean Beauty bronzer video. All right, you guys, I'm excited. So I have a huge, not a huge, okay, I'm being very dramatic, but I have a ton in front of me here. I have a like little basket here. So I have the tools that I like to use them with. So I'm going to kind of suggest as I go, like what my favorite bronzer brush is for like that specific product, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. Let's get into ones that I've talked about. Okay, specifically the one I've talked about, I feel like the most on this channel, and that is this one. This is the Ilia bronzer, and the shade I have in this is Novelty, and this is just a really, really pretty bronzer shade. So I'm going to, on this side of my hand, just swatch everything side by side for you. So this is just the prettiest, although I get a lot, I've gotten swatched a ton, but like my just let's preface this, my bronzer preference is that it makes me look healthy and glowy and just like I'm not dead inside from winter and just looking really, really pretty. And I feel like a lot of people's preference is like a really dark bronzer. That is not my preference. I like something that like complements me and looks more natural, but like, so you're not really sure, oh, is she wearing bronzer or is she just like so cute? You know what I mean? So yeah, this is the shade Novelty. I really, really like this. It is really good. It melts into the skin. It is by far my like grab and go, especially in winter right now, my grab and go shade. Like this is just, I put it on, it melts into the skin. I don't have to worry about it kind of just sitting on the skin. This has like a really pretty melt. And oh, if you've ever used the Physicians Formula butter bronzer, this wears really similarly and applies really similarly to that, and the way that it melts into the skin is really similar. Really, really good. Huge fan of this. Okay, next let's talk about this one. So this is the LYS Beauty bronzer, and I freaking love this bronzer. So this is definitely darker. The shade I have in this is the shade Courage, but this, when I apply it, is really, really nice on my face. So I'm going to swatch that next to the other one, and this is definitely, you can see it's definitely darker, but it also isn't as warm necessarily. I mean, it has warmth to it, but it's kind of a little bit less on the warm side. It is really, really pretty, and it just in general, I will say, like, this also wears really similarly to the Ilia one. It is just so pretty. It fluffs onto the face beautifully. And with both of these bronzers, in general, I have two powder bronzer brushes that I like to use, but my favorite by far, especially if you have a small face like I do, is this one. So this is the Pro Powder Brush from Sephora. This is the Sephora Pro line, and this is the 59. This is so good because it has, first of all, I love brushes that are tapered towards the end. I find that it gives me like the perfect kind of hold, depending on where I hold it, different like pressure, different amount of product will be applied. It'll be darker, it'll be lighter. I really like this. And for someone with a small face, bronzer brushes tend to be more like big, and so I always have to pinch them. This one I don't have to, and it just applies beautifully, and it gives me a really natural look, but it still packs a punch. This is a really good brush, but I digress. This is a really good bronzer. Just first of all, loving that their shade range is so inclusive, but also their products, like, they're just really, really good. I love their blushes. They're very, very pigmented, and I like the way that they wear. This is really, really good. Huge fan of this. Okay, next. Should we just do all my powders first? Let's do that. Okay, next, Arrive Beauty. Now, I don't know. I feel like last time... Oh, I broke this. Oh, I broke it. Oh, no. Well, that feels about right. All right, well, that's the worst. So this is the shade Tan Dark. Now, I will say... I've talked about this brand. I did a whole review. They need to step up their shade range, like, just in general. Like, in what? Why? Why do you not have enough shade options? Like, this should not be the darkest shade. But besides that, this does work for me in winter time, although it is obviously a lot lighter than these over here. Like, follow the right route. It's still, even on me, like, when I apply, it gives me a subtle bronze, but it definitely gives me a nice bronze. Like, she looks cute. Like, she's looking cute when she's wearing it. But I need in general all brands to step it up. But last time I went on the Arrive Beauty website, everything was kind of sold out. So I don't really know what's going on. And it's been sold out for a while. But I don't know. I didn't go on before this. I probably should have. But their product, I do really like their bronzer. It's really, really good, and it melts into the skin very similarly to the LYS Beauty bronzer and the Ilia bronzer. Very, very good. Okay, let's go here. So next I have the Victoria Beckham bronzer. Now, I really like this, but I understand that this is really expensive. I think this is like $58 or something, but if you like the heavy packaging and you, I mean, some brands are just like, you like the brand, you like the name, you like whatever it is, you like luxe feeling stuff. This is very luxe feeling, very nice. So the shade I have in this is the shade 03, and this, again, very similarly to the others, melts into the skin nicely, so it doesn't sit onto the skin. So this has two shades. So this is shade 1, and then this is the second shade. So yeah, you can kind of see they're definitely not as dark as the I like don't know what direction to go. They're not as dark as the Ilia one and the LYS Beauty one, but they pack a punch. Like, I've done a whole review of or try on of, I did a whole review of Victoria Beckham Beauty, but then I also did a whole try on, and you can kind of see it applied there. Really, really nice, melts into the skin. I love the consistency. Definitely on the expensive side, but it all depends on your preference. If this is something that you feel like you would really spend your money on, this is nice. And I would definitely repurchase it. It's a nice product, and I like the weight of it. It feels very luxurious. Big, big fan of this. Okay, next. Okay, you know what? Let's go here. Let's go to the Lawless bronzer. So, this is very dark. For me, this is the shade Blazed. This is the darker of the two. I think they only have 2 shades, but they might have 3 now. And this one is definitely, can I like pay attention? This is definitely on the darker side, and this one is definitely, when I apply it, I mean, you can just see it is very red orange. So on me, this is like a summer shade, when I definitely have like, because I get like, I get me a tan, like your girl gets tan. It's a good summer shade for me, because it has a little bit more of that orange tone to it, or red tone to it. It's really, really pretty. It melts into the skin. I would say, in terms of comparability to the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula, this is very much like the most similar of them all. But they all, so far, all of these melt into the skin. They don't sit directly on the face, which I know a lot of the time with like bronzers and blushes that are powder, that is a concern for a lot of people. Really, really good though. I like it a lot. And again, that shade, I have the lighter shade, but I lost that a while ago, so I don't know where that one is. But I really like their lighter shade too, and that wore nicely on me as well. Okay, next. All right, let's go here. So this is the Well People bronzing kind of trio. Not bronzing trio, but it has highlighter, blush, and bronzer. So I actually am going to be doing a Well People review, but before we do a full brand review, I'm going to do their bronzers. So this is their bronzer on this side here, and I will say, Out of all the bronzers and the powder bronzers that I'm talking about, this one really like just for me doesn't really deliver shade wise and punch wise. I feel like it doesn't like sit on the skin, but it doesn't melt in the skin like the other ones do. It's still a really pretty bronzer, but for me, like I have to be at my most pale to be able to wear this one. So this is the shade, it has Sunny, Colorful, and Starry are the shades. So the bronzer shade's called Sunny. I would want a different shade, but also I feel like in terms of where it lies with all my favorites that I have, this isn't the least favorite, but it's not my most favorite, if that makes sense, but it's still nice. And the blush, like the consistency of the powder is nice. It's just, it's not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite. Okay, so we have a few more powders here. So let's go on to the Kosas one next. So this is the Kosas bronzer, and this is in the shade just their medium, and this is really, really pretty. So I like this for more summertime because of the shimmer. I like a matte bronzer. Girl, I like a matte bronzer. Oh my gosh. I like a matte bronzer for year round in general. It just suits me and my makeup style best, but this is really, really pretty. Now, although when you kind of swatch it and you go into the pan, because this is definitely pressed a lot harder than the other ones, it doesn't really look like it packs as much of a punch, but she definitely does. Like she gives me bronzer vibes. So she's this one here. And she bronzes me up. This is like a really, I would say comparable to the Ilia one in terms of shade. Like if I would like, yeah, they match in shade, but in terms of, first of all, the way they're packed in the pan is very differently. I have to hit my brush a little bit more in this one. But that's not a bad thing. It's just packed differently. This also has shimmer in it. So I think that's also why it's packed differently because you don't want shimmer just flying around the place. But it looks really pretty on the skin. It melts into the skin. It's just so, so pretty. If I had to pick between, because I know people compare the Ilia and the Kosas one a lot, or just the brands in general, I would probably go Ilia just because it's matte and I like matte year round. However, the Kosas one in summer, like, slap it in me and on me. She is so cute and so good. Like, huge fan. Okay, next. Okay, let's go here. So this is the Han Cosmetics. I did a whole brand review. This is a very, very light shade for me. I'm going to swatch this. But I will say this is a nice option for like a very, very light contour option if I want to contour at all. I mean, it's like basically, girl, like really, really light, but that I just picked the wrong shade, but it melts into the skin. It is really, really pretty. I will say like this pan is like, if it's really small, and I feel like I just feel like it's not really that much product. I mean, it's probably, let's see, comparably. You know what, before I just speak, no, I mean, it's definitely not as much product as my other ones. No, it's not. So this is a small amount, and I feel like bronzer, I prefer a bigger pan, so that isn't my favorite, but the way that it melts into the skin and the way that it wears is really, really nice. So if you're interested in this brand and you were kind of wondering, their powders are really nice. They melt into the skin. They don't look like cakey or anything like that. I will just say, I feel like the shade range just needs like improvement overall. Okay, next. Next, we have PYT. Y'all know I love PYT. I talk about their products all the time. I will just say, like, their bronzer is really pretty. The way that it wears is really nice. But, like, can I get some more shades? Like, what? Like, why is this the only shade? So I'm going to swatch the darkest shade and then the lightest shade. Let me wipe my hands. So I'm going to do all the powders, and then I'm going to do my, my creams and stuff after. So this is, where is it? So we have this here. So this is not a bad shade. Like, this is definitely like a nice shade, and it looks beautiful on me. But like, can I get some darker shade options, but also like shade options for someone who's also lighter? Because I feel like not everyone loves a darker bronzer if they have a lighter complexion, because sometimes it can skew a little bit orange, which I completely understand. So here we have what they kind of look like side by side. The lighter shade you can barely see on me, and it kind of adds just more of a shimmer for me than anything else. I dip into the darker one more, or I just kind of swirl it around and apply it, and it looks beautiful on me, wears really nicely. But I will say, like, shade range is like whack city, you guys. Whack. And then my last but not least one is one from Mented Cosmetics. This is the Mended Cosmetics bronzer, and the shade I have in this is Vacay. And I will say, when I always have the hardest time opening this, and I don't know why. And I think it's a me thing because I don't see like other people struggle quite as much as I do. So I'm doing something wrong. Here we go. Just broke my clip there. So this is the bronzer, and I know what you're thinking. This looks really like more of a blush on you, but it definitely has more of a blushy tone. But like for summertime, for people of my complexion, a lot of the time when you bronze, you get kind of a pinky, not pinky, but a little bit more of a blushed up look to your cheeks. And this is like perfect for giving me that vibe. Vacay is right, because that is what I look like on Vacay. So I'm gonna just kind of swatch this up here so that you can kind of see really easily. Can you see what it looks like? So you can kind of see comparably to others. And I also swatch it. This, whatever swatched here was like nothing. So I'm going to swatch it also here so you can see next to it. It definitely skews more red or blushy tone, but it looks so good. And this is like a great all-in-one product for me. Like I'm obsessed with this bronzer, although it like skews more like, oh girl, you're like really just blushed up. Like this is an all-in-one product. It bronzes me up. It gives me a healthy look, although when you're looking at it on my arm, you're kind of like, okay, well that looks like blush. It is really good. I've also worn it as blush alone and like layered it with other bronzers, and it is a beautiful shade. They melt into the skin. I will say, like I've said this once and I'll say it a million times. I mean, I'm gonna do a full Mented review. I love their lip liners. If you're new here, their lip liners are fire. But I just feel like their shade range specifically for people of color with people with darker skin is really, really good. And it's something that I find a lot of the time is missing from like just regular shade ranges, is something that skews, although it might look like a blush on someone who has a lighter complexion, like on me, that's not necessarily how it's going to look. And so I feel like they do such a good job, and their pricing and just quality of products are unmatched. Like really, really good. I like this a lot. Again, melts into the skin. I like the shade, so again, I wear the shade Vacay, melts into the skin, looks really pretty, and wears really long. I will say the one of all of these that I feel like doesn't wear as long as the others would be the Han Cosmetics one of the powders, because those are all my powders, yeah. The Han Cosmetics one doesn't last as long, and the Well People one doesn't last as long for me personally. However, I feel, and the Arrive Beauty one, it lasts long, but I find that it fades more towards the end of the day when I compare it to my other bronzers. However, the rest of the bronzers last really long, and this one lasts really long too, and just looks really pretty all day. I'm a huge, huge fan. Okay, next I'm moving on to my creams. So I'm going to swatch them on my arms too, and my arm too, and I have two in a stick, and then I'm going to move on to the rest. So first one that I have is this one here. This is the Undone Water Bronzer. I think I talked about this in my first bronzer video, and I really, really like this. Although it's very subtle in like just the way that you're seeing it now, it actually does give me something on my face. It's not crazy. I mean, this is it right here. It's not crazy, like too subtle, but I definitely need, what shade is this specifically? This is shade 210 Baked, but I definitely, when I layer it, I can get like a punch pack out of this, and it looks really, really nice. I like the way that it wears, and it can give you like such a nice subtle look without feeling like it's too much. And it definitely, if you have a lighter complexion than me, this shade Baked would be beautiful. It's really, really nice. It's not too warm, but it definitely, you can see the rest of the bronzer all over my arm, but you can definitely, here it is, you can definitely see it. It looks really, really pretty. It is like definitely more on the dewy side, but it's not so dewy that you look like wet. It's really, really nice. I like it a lot, and I like that it is like a water-based, like kind of more jelly style. It's really, really nice. I like it a lot. I like the way that it wears. In terms of longevity, I would say that this one has the least longevity of the cream ones I'm talking about, but it's still nice, and I do really enjoy it. Okay, next we're talking about this one. This is the Persona Cosmetics Bronzer Multi-Stick, and this is in the shade Sahara, I think. Yeah. And this one I really, really like. So this is a really pretty shade, and it's definitely, she packs a punch on me and looks really, really pretty and blends out beautifully. Like, oh my goodness. This just striped around your face, and I like to use a stippling brush like this. So this is the Real Techniques just stippling brush. It's a small one. I say this all the time. Sometimes with bronzers, when the brush is really big, it's like too much. This is a really good one, and so is the one I was talking about before, but this is really, really pretty. The way it blends out is beautiful. And this shade now on me is beautiful, but also this shade on me in summer is also really, really pretty. And I think they have one more darker than this, I believe. I hope they come out with more shades, but this is so pretty. I mean, look at that. Look at that pigmentation. Are you freaking screaming? It's so good. It's so good. It's just so good. Okay, next we're going to move on to ones in a pot. So first, let's do this one. So this is the Tarte, what is this called? Just their cream bronzer. And this is a light shade, and I got a comment on this before. It's a light shade, but it works on me. So this is the shade Seychelles, and I love the consistency of their bronzer. Like, oh my goodness. It's just so pretty. And this is definitely more neutral, but on me, it just looks so good. And it's like a really nice subtle contour on me. I just really, really like it. And although it looks really, it's like, oh, are you sure that's a bronzer on you? When you apply it, and anytime you swatch something, I will say, a lot of the time when you swatch something versus how it actually applies on the face is very, like, can be very different. But it's really pretty. It melts into the skin. It's really beautiful. I would say it has like the perfect consistency in thickness to like last you. Like, it's not going to fade super, super fast. It is just so, so pretty. The same with the Persona Cosmetics one. It is just so, so, so pretty. I'm a huge fan. Okay, next, okay, let's go here, Tower 28. So I love Tower 28. I have a whole brand review coming either before or after this video, where I do a full review of all their products, but I also try it on. And I just love the consistency of their creams. This shade is so pretty. I'm just obsessed with this shade. Like, it is just the prettiest shade ever. It's similar in, not similar, but no, it is similar to the Kosas one, the Kosas powder, in the shade match, but also the way that the shimmer is. It is just really, really pretty. It's subtle, but it gives you something, but it doesn't feel like you like threw a disco ball on your face. It's just so pretty. Like, this is like the perfect bronzer for summertime. Spring and summertime, you guys, slapping this all over me. Like, just so, so good. The consistency is really, really nice. And I really, really like it. I mean, it's similar consistency to their blushes if you've ever tried them. Like, so good. I'm obsessed. Okay, Say Beauty. So this is the Say Beauty bronzer, and this is in the shade medium bronze, and I really, really like this. I do have their brush, and I do really like to apply it with this, but I do have a small face, so I have to be careful because it can get a little bit crazy on me. So then I do like to use a stippling brush again and kind of dip in with this instead. This is the shade, again, medium bronze. Let me swatch this for you guys. I really like this bronzer. If you need an alternative to the Chanel bronzer, this is a great alternative. The wear is really similar, and I just feel like the way that it looks, like, look how pretty that is. It's so good. It's so pretty. It melts into the skin. It's not thick. Like, it's like a thin consistency, but also like it has a little bit of a thicker consistency. I would say, like, comparably to the Persona Cosmetics one and the Tarte one. It's a little bit thinner, but it's still so, so nice. A huge pan, which I love. Bronzer's got to come in big pans, you guys. Like, what is this, like, itty bitty pan situation? I feel like some of them come in. So, so good, so pretty, applies beautifully, blends out nicely, doesn't really pick up the product underneath it. I will say, like, with the bronzers, in terms of my favorite, these two are my favorites for mattes for sure, and I'm obsessed with the Tower 28 one for just summertime. It's just so, so good. These are just really, really good. I love bronzer. Bronzer is so good, and the Undone Beauty one is really nice. I love this specifically for when I'm not really wearing makeup, like I'm not wearing anything underneath it. I'm just kind of applying this to my face. This is really, really good. Gives me a really natural finish to the face. These are incredible. If you haven't tried the Persona Cosmetics one, I would definitely recommend checking them out. It's really, they're just really good. But yeah, that is it for my Clean Beauty bronzers. I know I'm going to get asked a question on what are my favorite bronzers. So I really enjoy most of my bronzers. And in terms of my everyday wear bronzer, the Ilia one, just because I grab it the most, so it must be my favorite. But I love my other bronzers too. But yeah, definitely my Ilia one would be my most grabbed, my most used bronzer. The Mented one is newer to my collection, but I'm grabbing this a ton. It just gives me the most beautiful like flush to the face, and this will be like my summer bronzer for sure. It's just so good. And in terms of creams, these all kind of are a little bit different. So the Persona Cosmetics one, the Stay Beauty one is really good, and the Tower 28 are just like so good. I'm going to have a full video where I'm trying on and also reviewing all of the Tower 28 products, and I'm going to try this on so you can kind of see it in action. It is really good. I like it. I'm actually wearing it on my face today. It's really good. It's a little bit faded because it's like the end of the day, but I love them. I also really love the LYS Beauty one, the Victoria Beckham Beauty one, and the Kosas one. In terms of powders, these would be my favorites. In addition to the Ilia bronzer, like these three here in addition are my favorites. It's also all occasion, like depending on what I need, because all the tones are different. Like this is summer for sure, like summer bronzer for sure. And if I want a matte, I'm going definitely here's my most grabbed matte. And if I want like a more sun-kissed, like natural sun-kissed on me bronzer, I'm going here. Like I'm gonna be slapping this on myself all dang summer long, slapping it on my face. Like I'm just obsessed with it. And both of these are incredible. Like the shade, like this shade is so good, and I feel like this is a very rare shade. Again, kind of like the Mented Cosmetics ones. They did such a good job. LYS Beauty did such a good job with their bronzers and their tones, and this is so good. And the Victoria Beckham Beauty is just really pretty and wears really nicely on me. Yeah, that is it for my clean beauty bronzer video. I would love to know, what are your favorite bronzers? Which one should I be trying? Tell me down below. I'm always on the hunt for new products for you guys so I can test them out and tell you my opinion. And yeah, that is it for my video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.